Hour number two, our good friend Gary Cobb, who was at practice the last couple days, will give us his sense of these two dudes that were just signed by the Eagles to improve what was already a shitty room. I think it's upgraded a little bit, probably C minus. And again, one more time, the Jack sign to me is not bad. He's the most experienced, probably the best linebacker in the room already. The rest of those guys, we'll see. I mean, again, not fair to say anything about Dean yet, but we'll see. I mean, if he plays. I don't know how you don't think that's a concern if a guy's missing time who didn't see the field last year. And because he was on a chalkboard all offseason, you think that's good enough to win in the NFC East. How ignorant. If that guy has 70 tackles this year, I'll be stunned. You're trying to replace a linebacker that had 100 solo. And because he's no longer in Philly, he sucks. If you're a great player and a great linebacker, don't you think Howie would have been trying to move TJ Edwards out and that guy in? That's how you do it. If you know you got a replacement or an heir apparent, you don't pay the guy and you just let him walk. But you get him playing time. He got no playing time. 34 snaps is not playing time. Okay, so goes they didn't want to pay Edwards. Well, that's why you just signed two dudes off the street, because it's an indictment of your room. Just like last year, it was an indictment on your defensive tackle play. Stop lying to yourselves. Stop lying. Why? Hey, so Howie Roseman signed those two defensive tackles last year because they were not getting enough out of Jordan Davis. Yes or no? Well, he was hurt. That's part of it. Well, he was okay. Between being hurt and not productive, that's who Davis was last year. So they went out and signed two veterans. To me, Nakobe Dean's job is gone. Jack will be taking that. To me, that makes the most sense. Starting Miles Jack at the mic and putting Dean out wide. Put him out wide. And get this. Can I tell you why they're playing more forefront? Why do you think they're playing more forefront? When you watched last night and you watched the films, okay, why do you think they're playing more forefront? Let's see if you have any intelligence. Less linebackers on the field, and the guards are covered, and you're only taking one guy on, the center, who's usually the undersized guy in the building. Doesn't it make sense? Of course not. See, when you got two defensive tackles covering the two giant guards, your mic only has to look at a guy that's 6'3" like Jason Kelce, 300 pounds, instead of taking on a guard that's 385 pounds or 360 and 6'6". Schwimpy Dean won't be able to see, let alone in the backfield, but he'll be gobbled up by traffic. It's common sense. That's why they're going to be more in the forefront, because they don't have the linebacker play. Common sense. Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Kelce didn't play as rookies either. Just because you don't play as a rookie doesn't mean you're a bust. And Davis got hurt. That's not what I said, General. I said the reason they went out and got more help at the defensive tackle position is because they got no production from Davis. You draft a guy 13 and he was non-productive. You say hurt. Okay, so he's hurt and non-productive. Not usually a good combination. That's why they signed veteran DTs. What did I say that wasn't true? He had 19 tackles last year with no sacks. They went and signed 2 guys that helped them. It's not an opinion. You're not going to put a Schwimp backer in there like Dean over a 365. Hey, how about this? Let's just do the. Let me ask you a comment. Watch this. You want to see how stupid people get? This is wonderful. You sound like dumbass Micah Parsons, some of you. Okay. How many weeks do you think Nakobe Dean could take on players like Landon Dickerson and play 91% of the plays at the mic? How many games do you think he could play in a row? He can't even get through the first week of practice in shorts and helmets. How many weeks do you think he could play on a consistent basis? What was that number, Tone? That TJ played 93% of the plays? So you got to have that guy play 93% of the plays, 92% of the plays. And you got to play against guys like that every week. 94. And you think that little dude is going to take on 360-pound guys? How many? Okay. I'm going to get to, I got another Hurts topic, but I think it's a really great one. I'm going to do that in a minute here. So this guy, Micah Parsons, man, I'll tell you what, this guy really thinks he's something else, doesn't he? I've never seen a guy who gets killed more by the Eagles talk more shit in my life than anybody I've ever seen. He's now going around telling people he's better than Lawrence Taylor. He goes, Lawrence Taylor could never cover Saquon Barkley. No, but Lawrence Taylor would annihilate Daniel Jones. What have you ever done? You are telling people you're better than a guy who revolutionized the outside perimeter linebacker position, and every single team in today's NFL wants a player like Taylor. You want to hear a crazy stat? Lawrence Taylor's first 2 years in the league, his first 2 years, he was the defensive player of the year. Twice. And this guy's barking. I never see you in Eagle games. This guy's like Casper the Ghost. There you see him, there you don't. I have never seen a guy talk more shit. And see, that cowboy emblem is going to his head because he thinks he's better than he is. Look, I think he did not have the impact late in the year that Hassan Reddick had. Not a chance. Not a chance. Reddick was more destructive. He was more destructive. How about this? Can you name me a play? Can I tell you, what do you guys think defensively was the most destructive play in football last year in the entire league? What was it? Can you guys name it to me? What was the most destructive play that a defensive football player made last year? The most impactful play. And then you line it up with his season and his numbers and his impact. What was the most destructive play on defense? Reddick taking out Brock Purdy, Niner fan. They're still bitching and belly aching about it. They're still bitching and belly aching about it. That was the biggest play defensively in the National Football League because it was in the most impactful game. It was a game wrecker. You took a team that could have went toe for toe against the Eagles and you made them into a junior varsity team because you had no quarterback. It was like a headless horseman. I don't ever remember Hassan Reddick crowing about him being the best pass rusher in the sport. I hear this guy saying it. I don't ever remember him making an impactful play. Now he's better than Lawrence Taylor. Striker goes, Sills, do you think that since Miles Jack was in a 34, it could have stunted his... Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because, hey, I'm glad you brought that up, Striker, because I'll tell you guys a little secret. That's right. Turn the 49ers from Superman into Clark Kent. Here, I think you guys will be a little bit more happy to hear this. So, two guys I talked to, two former teammates. Fredo Roberts is the tight end coach. Here. Let's see if we got Fredo on this Miami book here. Let's see if I got Fredo in here. Fredo Roberts. He is the tight end coach with the Steelers. Here he is. There's old Fredo right there. Fredo Roberts, one of Big Sills' dear friends. Purdy comes in here. You tell Niner to be honest. Won't be scared to death. Hey, and I talked to my other teammate, Carl Dunbar, the defensive line coach in Pittsburgh. And I talked to Kevin Colbert. Do you think Miles Jack being in a 34 was out of position? They said definitely. We run 34 here. He's more of a 43 guy. Okay? Which means he's more of an inside Mike backer. They felt that he'd play better at Mike. And that's what I think Howie's looking at. Me, in my opinion, I would start playing Dean a little bit outside. Miles Jack inside Mike and then Dean outside. Then you make a transition. I think that makes more sense. And get this, they love Miles Jack. He's injured. He was injured a lot in Jacksonville. Okay. I don't know too much about Cunningham. Think he's okay. And he's all right. It's going to be interesting to see because he's more of a 34 guy. But I don't think the Eagles are going to play 34 this year. I think they're going to be more in the forefront because of the undersized linebackers they have. You're undersized. You're smaller than you were a year ago. So, if you put Miles Jack at the mic, I think you're stronger. And again, this is not an indictment on Dean. Jesus criminy. Let the kid learn how to. Hey, you want to hear something? Here's a great example of what I'm talking about here. You know what Tracy Rocker said about Jalen Carter? He goes, Sills, what do you think the biggest problem is you have right now? By the way, Tracy played with me and we were teammates again too. We've been friends for 20 years. Love him. What do you think the problem with Jalen Carter is right now? What do you guys think the problem with Jalen Carter is right now? And by the way, it's expected. It's not, there's nothing to be down on him. What do you guys think the problem is with Jalen Carter right now? Experience? Probably the vague answer. TV. Okay, probably the vague answer. Technique. Technique, experience. Okay. Here, rookie. Okay. When you're in a defense like you were at Georgia, and you play a lot of like 3-man front, and you play a lot of like different styles, okay, of fronts. You slide guys, 3 technique, 1 technique, 2 technique, shade, 0. Some fans would rather throw Dean into the grinder than see him develop properly. Of course, that's the problem here. You throw a guy into a grinder, most of those guys come out eaten up. Instead of bringing a guy, didn't Seth teach you anything? I go, Seth, how long did it take you to become a Mike? He goes, well, at first I started at Sam, then I went to Will, and then I went into Mike. But you guys think Dean's better than Seth. Oh, okay. So you think Nakobe Dean's better than Seth Joyner? I don't. Here. This is what they're saying about Jalen Carter. And Tracy's like, don't go crazy, but what do you think? And I go, let me guess. He's guessing. He's like, yeah. He thinks he's in a 2, but he's in a shade 1. And he's got to slide out a little more. So what happens? You're thinking, and the guy steps on you and you look slow. The only reason he's slow right now is because he's overthinking. I personally think, and he goes, what? I go, I personally think, don't confuse him right now. Let him just get out there and base. Let him play base. Okay? Let these guys play. When he's in the game, just play base. Don't go too much. Man, those defenses nowadays in the NFL, see, they like to do that walk-up defense now. You know what the walk-up defense is, right? You don't. In college, think about this. In college, see here. In college, you can line up, and this is the guard. Here. This is the guard here. See, you can line up on a 3 technique like this. And that guy can't stop you because you're going to kill him. In the pros, you line up on a 3 technique. Do you know what you just done to the guard? You told him to take a flatter step. You told the center to get up on his hip quicker. You've already telegraphed where you're going. And remember, he knows where the play is. These guys are so good. A guy like Kelsey, if you lined up, see, this is what a lot of great DTs do. They'll line up on a head on you. And as soon as the quarterback goes, ready, then the defensive great tackles move out into a wide 3. That means that guard's got to take an even bigger step. And if he misses, you're up the field, TFLs, backside tackle comes down, knocks the shit out of your running back. That's how you play the position. That's how you play the position. But when you're younger and you don't know the technique that they're asking or the plays they're asking, you're going to line up right here and you're going to telegraph where you're lining up. Guards today in the NFL, they'll knock the shit out of you like that. These guys are too good, dude. That's the biggest difference when you play against a guy like, when you play against somebody like a Bruce Matthews or Mike Munchak or guys like Russ Grimm, and you're playing them dudes, don't telegraph anything. Keep Van Horn run you into the dirt. Knock your dick into the dirt. Okay? So that's why he looks slow. We started laughing, and I go, dude, they're probably on his backside. He's probably shaking his head after every play going, God. And Tracy's got to keep building him up. Hey, man, got to keep practicing that. You got to keep practicing. You got to keep practicing. And it's more about alignment with Jalen Carter. It's not about knowledge, but, but he's got to know you got to line up in a pure 3. See, in college, you could fake that shit and kill the guy in front of you. You get away with that. NFL, you don't get away with that. You have to be as tech. Hey, here's another way of looking at it too. Okay, look at Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey might easily be the greatest technician I've ever seen at the center position. Jason Kelsey's not in the NFL because he's the strongest guy or the fastest guy. He's in the NFL because he's smart, he's athletic, he's gifted, all of that. But it comes down to his amazing technique. And he's an effort guy. This guy beats you with heart and hustle and talent. Okay? Gary can't get here until 5:30. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. He's at a charity golf tournament. We'll do 5:30. That's fine. Here's the thing. I just started to stream, by the way. You can't let 2 starting linebackers walk and not replace one. And dual, not only that, you can't do it with a new coordinator. Okay? All-time bad idea. Absolutely all-time bad idea. Oh, yeah. His pad play, he's never over his pads. He's always low. Gets up there, slips it up, and scoops the linebacker. And then you see him down on second and third level sometimes. Truly fun to watch. You want to learn how to play a guard or center position? You watch Jason Kelce play. Dude, and watch him take his flat steps, too, how he does it. Really great. See, in college, again, I bench press 550 pounds. I'm killing everybody in front of me. I run 4.8s at 300 pounds. And I'm 550. And I got a 28 vertical. You're not beating me in college. And the pros, those guys don't give a shit about that. Those guys are all technicians. Okay? You're not beating me in college. I'm running 4.8s. I don't know why people are so afraid to admit that the Eagles are trying to do at linebacker is extremely difficult, especially with a new court. It's playing out. It's why, it's an indictment. It's a total indictment on their failure this offseason to address it. Now they're seeing it on film. You see, look, that's why Nick Sirianni's lying to the media, and he has to lie to you. He's lying to you because this is no indictment on the current linebacking room. Yes, it is. Depth alone. Depth alone. They're seeing it on film. False steps. Look at who you're playing with. Hey, was this kid, let me ask you this. Was this kid Christian Ellis drafted? Was this kid Christian Ellis? Was he drafted? Was he a draft pick? Nakobe Dean going okay? I don't think he is. How can he be going okay when he misses practices because he's hurt? So wait a minute. So Christian Ellis is undrafted. He's undrafted. You got 3 dudes in the room that have been fired. So here's what you have. You got Dean, who's not playing because he's hurt. You got 3 dudes who were fired from other teams and downgraded, and they spent no money on guaranteed money for him. And Christian Ellis, who you're telling me he's good, is undrafted. Holy shit. That thing's D plus best. Your take is right on. His technique will get better after week 6 or 8 once he gets. That's right, Bear. It'll come. Jalen Carter's, I have no concerns about him. He just needs to get out there and play. Yeah, Bear, that's right. He just needs to get out there and play. Nolan Smith has practiced. I hear Nolan Smith looks like the best rookie out there so far. Okay, I heard that he looks like the best. Let me say this to you. I wrote this down here about Hurts. By the way, Gary Cobb will be with us at 5:30 instead of 4:30 today. He's at a charity event. I love this. This is so Brady. I'll tell you something about your boy, Jalen Hurts. Once again, he's got a lot of Tom Brady in his preparation and studying of the game. There's a lot of Tom Brady in him. Okay? A lot of Tom Brady. And now what he's doing is he's talking to Sean Desai all the time and going over defenses with him. And talking defensively with him. How would you coordinate me? What are you doing here? What are you trying to do here? What are you looking at here? When you see this, what do you think? How would you defend me here? How would you defend a guy that's in a screen game? How would you defend a wheel route? How would you defend a tight end up the seam on a block and release? How would you do that? That's so great. That's the things right there that Wentz didn't do. The more I know about you, the more I can attack you. The less I know about you, the more vulnerable I am. Art of War, Sun Tzu. If I know my opponent and his strengths and weaknesses, I know where to attack. That's so smart. I don't think a lot of quarterbacks do that. Take the time not to only know their plays, their players' positions, but sit around and know that what made Brady so spectacular was that he knew where the ball was going on a pre-snap. He knew where he was going. He knew where the ball was going. And so did everybody else that worked with him. And everyone was in tune with him. That's why you don't see big-time wide receivers with him that had any kind of success whatsoever when it came to winning Super Bowls. He didn't play with guys like that. Guys like that were worried about what? Their own bullshit, their own numbers, their own salaries. He didn't win Super Bowls with guys like that. He won Super Bowls with guys that were going to be in tune with him, that were going to work with him, that were smart like him. They didn't win with anyone else. They never won with those superstar. Brady didn't win with wide receivers like you have in Philly. Shit, man, there's not a wide receiver he won a Super Bowl with the kind of talent that you have in Philadelphia. Not one. Not one. The tight end is the greatest tight end in the history of the game that he played with. Okay, but the wide receivers, Edelman, Amendola, and Welker aren't going anywhere. Okay? Aren't going anywhere. That's probably two. Shakira AB in Tampa and Mike Evans, probably, okay, those are the two best he's won with. Absolutely. But that run they had in New England, none of those guys were there. He's 45 years old in Tampa. You're right. You're right. Now, I don't know. Evans keeps it up. He could get into the Hall of Fame. If Evans keeps up his numbers, Evans is going to knock on the door of Hall of Fame. Evans has put a hell of a career together. Randy Moss never won a Super Bowl with Brady. Andy, they never won a Super Bowl with Brady. Randy Moss, ever. Mahomes hasn't won without Kelsey. Are you suggesting that Kelsey's made Mahomes? I wonder how Kelsey would look up in Chicago with Justin Fields. I could pretty much guarantee you Mahomes is still going to a Super Bowl if Kelsey's on that team or not on that team. I mean, I don't think they had a wide receiver over 700-800 yards last year. It's remarkable. Only place Edelman and Welker are going to is the New England alumni game. That's right. Those guys ain't going anywhere near the Hall of Fame unless they're buying a ticket. Okay? Eagle fans. You know, look at what JM says. Mahomes is not winning the Super Bowl in Chicago. No, but they're a playoff contender with him in Chicago with the shitty NFC and a worst place schedule. My money would be on Mahomes winning 11 games in Chicago. Claypool and DJ Moore are better wideouts in Chicago than he has in Kansas City. Are you crazy? Justin Fields has better wide receivers in Chicago than he has in Kansas City. It shows you what that guy knows. No Tyreek Hill, no problem. Right. There's better wide receivers in Chicago. He beat you with Juju Smith-Schuster. All right. I like that. Okay, I do. I really do. I like that. All right. I got to ask you this question here. And I posted this earlier, and I think Tone saw this. Here it is. About Carson Wentz. So in the last 2 years, 24 games Carson Wentz has started. Carson Wentz has 792 attempts. 494. This guy almost has 500 completions. 64 completion percentage. 5,318 yards. 38 touchdowns and 16 picks. Sam Darnold doesn't have these numbers. Let's see who else. That stiff Mariota is nowhere near that. Trey Lance will be lucky to ever have how about this? Trey Lance will be lucky to have 5,000 passing yards in his entire career. Garoppolo's thrown 7 picks in practice the last 2 days. Why doesn't Carson Wentz have a job? And this narrative about him being a shitty guy. So let me ask you this. I'm not saying that his communication skills are good, but do you really take the word of Jim Irsay when he said we had to get better leadership in there? And then he said that Matt Ryan was the answer. And then you just watch what he's done to Jonathan Taylor. So you really believe that Jim Irsay runs a good organization. Carson Wentz went to the 2 shittiest organizations he possibly could have went. This is my opinion on him. He went to Washington, where the owner was running a shit show. And he was in Indianapolis, where the owner is a shit show. I'm not making excuses. I'm looking at the environment. Did he help? No. But boy, what quarterback has had better success? Name me one quarterback who's had a better year than Carson Wentz did since Andrew Luck retired. Maybe Phillip Rivers. Maybe. Wentz's year actually in Indy was a damn good year. I wouldn't take Irsay's advice at a traffic light. Right? What's happened where Wentz can't? And by the way, that jersey and all that shit with the helmet, I mean, he's a redneck. He looks dopey. Someone should have told him, like his old lady or somebody with some brains, even a girlfriend. Dude, even a guy holding the cell phone who took that should have went, really? You're going to look dumb. People are going to goof on you for this. Well, I'm trying to send a message. That's not the message you want to send. That's the problem you have. It's the message you send to people. Try to be smarter. This is where I'm going with this. His numbers are not holding him back. He is. That's a prime example of why people look at him and think he's dopey and goofy. Is for how he telegraphs himself and how he presents himself. He presents himself like a dope. That's his problem. Carson Wentz is good enough to start in this league at a good organization. I think he should go to San Francisco. Be better than anything they have there. Maybe get proper coaching. But dude, present yourself differently. There's nothing wrong with his numbers. Look at his numbers. You look at his numbers and you're like, this guy's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. The way he presents himself to his teammates and to the public is dopey. And see, look at this right here. Micah goes, he struggles with adversity. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Micah. He's in adversity right now. He's in an adverse situation and he doesn't know how to handle it. So he does something. And some people will go, Sills, the helmet and the jersey and the shorts, it's not a big deal. But it is, because impressions matter. Dude, if a Confederate flag can make people wince without anything or anybody saying a word or writing anything, symbols matter. Symbols totally matter, especially in that league. Wentz's numbers have never been terrible. He's just a buffoon. That's right. He's a buffoon. That's a buffoon shit stuff. On and off the field. I'm going to say something here about him. Dude, I'm going to make a point to you again about Carson Wentz. He's not bad. You're making him out to be bad. And by the way, he was a success in Philly. You know why? Because he helped you win the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz stats. And I'm going to tell you why, JM. He makes critical mistakes in critical times. Like, look at this. 151 touchdowns to 66. It's almost 3-1. Or 2-1. Before last year, 35-63 in Indy. 26-20 is last year in that shit show where they fired him and the head coach. Year before that, he threw for 4,000 yards. To not a receiver who had more than 800 yards receiving. These are quality numbers. Personally, my problem with Carson Wentz, I don't think he ever matured. I think he's a dopey kid who doesn't understand the position is about how you present yourself, how you conduct yourself, and how you prepare yourself. That's what that position is. And that's why Jalen Hurts got $255 million. Because all the things that the Eagles saw that were wrong with leadership at the position, Wentz put it out there for them to see their mistakes. And Jalen has went back with every one of the, what's this? Who's better with teammates, Hurts or Wentz? These are dumb questions, actually. Who prepares better? Again, who's a community embrace? I mean, all dumb questions because we know the answers to them. This guy's there's no problems with his numbers. You just had Kyle Shanahan try to convince the entire NFL public that Sam Darnold's a good ball player with no numbers to prove that. Wentz has numbers to prove it and an MVP season, and he ain't that old. Dopey. He's a dope. Eagle helmet on. I would have lit that shit on fire. New beginnings. He's got to make people feel. See what he's doing? If you're an NFL general manager and you see that picture of him with that gear on, still stuck in the mud, ain't you? I would have had a video of me and my boy taking my helmet and smashing the helmet with a sledgehammer, burning my shorts and my jersey, and saying this, new beginnings. You got to make people feel that you've turned a corner and you're outrunning your past here a bit. You got to make people, here's the most important thing again. You got to make people believe in you again. Because right now, nobody believes in you. Not even you. Dude, how about that? The person holding Carson Wentz back is not anybody in the league. It's him. That's a suck-ass way to go out, kid. That's a sorry-ass way. You're trying to tell me you think Nathan Peterman belongs on a roster and Wentz doesn't? That's stupid. But you don't want a guy like Wentz on your locker because you know why? Everyone in the locker room looks at him and goes, that guy's not a guy you want to count on when the going's tough. Okay? Philip goes, Carson Wentz is getting nightmares about Clowney's hit. So what, is he skittish in the pocket? Just makes no sense. Got to be a leader. And I saw the picture and I saw Tone put it out there and I was like this. That's his problem. It's how people look at him. He's dopey. I mean, he's really dopey. I didn't think that until I saw that picture of him because I kind of heard it a little bit. And then when it worked with Frank, Irsay was a head case and is a head case. He's a head case. It worked, but it didn't work the way he liked it. Now he's going to run his running back off. So I give him a hall pass there until I saw that. I was like, this guy's just stupid. Carson Wentz is dumb. Okay? He's dumb. And wait, how about this? The intelligence level on Jalen Hurts compared to Carson Wentz, it's like a kindergarten guy and a guy who's got a master's degree. And personally, I think that's the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, hey, look, going to Broadway plays, hanging out, doing all that, being a movie star, being a New York celebrity, something that it's like he's 10 years old. And get this, that's fired him up, but winning hasn't. Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady are fired up by winning, not by being a TV star in New York. I mean, that's why that guy's never grown up. And that's why that guy's underachieved. So he's won 4 MVPs. Okay, great. He's won 1 Super Bowl. I would have thought a guy like that with that kind of talent would have won 4 or 5. But then you get to the character part of it and you realize why. Okay? That's why there's certain guys you go, man, this guy has way more talent than that guy. Why is that guy a bigger winner? Well, Hurts puts in the time. Hurts not a TV star. Get this. So why Aaron Rodgers is going to Broadway plays and going to Emmy Awards and Grammy Awards and all that other shit, the Tony Awards, Jalen Hurts had to turn down that quarterback Netflix thing. Was it twice? Nah, not me. We're not doing that. That's not for me. That's why they invested in him. Right there, front and center. Big Sills, our friends over at Hooters. I can't thank them enough, man. 35 years, our relationship. This bad puppy goes back to when I was a teenager. That's right. When I was a teenager, my relationship goes back with doing business with them when they were just a local restaurant in the Tampa Clearwater area, where the very first one was put up by Ed Drotsky, and to where we are now, where the 2023 home of the National Football Show is going to be King of Prussia Hooters. We're looking so forward to seeing you out there. And look, draft parties, one place to be. Your preseason football, make sure you get there. This is the official home of Eagle fans. You're going to absolutely love it when you get to the King of Prussia Hooters. There is no place like it. Tuesdays, absolutely awesome. Some of the great traditions: buy 10 wings and get 10 bonus wings free. You heard me right. Wings Wednesday, 40-year tradition. All you can eat on Wednesdays for 1983. You got it. You know what 1983 is, do you? That's like one of the first years that Hooters was put up, 1983. Only Big Sills would know that. Happy hours, spectacular. The afternoons, I mean, you can't get any better deals than this. Miller Lite tall drafts, Coors Light tall drafts. You get 6 items, put them all together for $6. Simple as that. Get to your Hooters in King of Prussia, 240 North Gulf Road in King of Prussia. And when you go there, do me a favor, tell them Big Sills sent you.